Imagine a world where the hands of the clock never move, where every tick is silenced and time itself grinds to a halt. What if I told you there's a place where this chilling reality is not just a nightmare, but a consequence? Join us as we uncover the unsettling truth behind the clock tower that stopped time and the bizarre, frozen existence it created. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment to receive more of our mysterious and exciting stories. In the small town of Eirvalo, time flowed like a calm river. Each day resembled the one before it, and every evening held the promise of a new dawn. The beating heart of the town was the ancient clock tower, its rhythmic chimes setting the pace of life for its residents. From the morning bells that awakened the workers to the gentle chimes at midnight that sent children to their dreams, the tower was the faithful guardian of time. But on one cloudy night, as the clock struck midnight, something unexpected happened. There was no usual resonant chime, but a heavy, breathless silence. The minute hand stopped moving, the hour hand froze at midnight, and the heart of the town ceased to beat. At first, no one noticed. They thought the tower had broken down, or that there was a simple mechanical fault. The next morning, people awoke to chaos. There was no sun, no morning. The entire town was covered in a gray fog, and the light was dim, like perpetual midnight. The clocks on people's hands, their phones and computers were all stopped at exactly midnight. Time no longer passed. Children were in the middle of their games, but suddenly stopped, like wax statues. Words froze on the lips of speakers, and papers fluttered in the air, but no longer fell. Everything was in a state of eternal stillness. The people of Eirvalo realized that time hadn't just stopped in the clock tower, it had stopped for the entire town. They were frozen in a single, never-ending moment. Eirvalo had become a museum of lost time. Eirvalo was the birthplace of Elias, a skilled clockmaker and the grandson of the tower's original builder. Elias lived in the capital, far from his hometown, but he felt in his heart that something was wrong. He returned to Eirvalo to find it in its strange state. He saw his mother frozen while preparing his breakfast, the watch on her wrist stopped. The entire town was an exact replica of midnight. Elias was the only person unaffected. His watch was still working, and he was the only one moving in this frozen world. He felt like a ghost, walking among human statues. Elias realized that the solution lay within the clock tower. He climbed to the top, where the air was cold and filled with the scent of old rust. Inside, he found the clock's mechanisms at a standstill. There were no broken gears, no faulty parts. Every piece was in its place, yet nothing moved. Elias remembered a story his grandfather used to tell him about the tower. The tower is not just a machine, my son. It holds the soul of the town, and if its soul stops, everything stops. Elias began to examine every detail, every gear, every spring. He realized the problem was not mechanical, but linked to a mysterious energy. He found an inscription carved on the tower wall that read, "For time to move, the heart must move." Elias understood that the tower needed energy, emotional energy, not mechanical power. His heart was filled with nostalgia for his family and a deep desire to save his town. He placed his hand on the main gear of the clock and closed his eyes. He imagined the sound of children's laughter in the morning, the smell of fresh bread, and the sound of his mother calling his name. This was his heart, and this was the soul the clock needed. The main gear began to tremble, and then, very slowly, it started to move. Another gear followed, then another. The mechanisms began to turn slowly, and Elias heard a faint tick, then another. And then, the ringing sound echoed throughout the town, a sound they hadn't heard in ages. With each chime, the gray fog began to fade. The sun appeared, and colors returned to life. The papers began to fall again, the children resumed their games, and the speakers continued their conversations. When Elias came down from the tower, he found his mother smiling, holding a plate of breakfast. She didn't remember a thing. Life had returned to normal, as if nothing had ever happened. The chimes of the clock tower once again rang throughout Eirvalo, but this time, Their sound had a different meaning. It was no longer just a machine for measuring time, but a heart beating with life, reminding the townspeople that time is their most precious possession and that it is worth living every moment of it. If you enjoyed this story and felt your senses freeze with it, share your thoughts with us in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to receive more exciting and thrilling stories.